In the humid lowlands of what is now southern Mexico, a civilization thrived, hidden from the world's gaze. 3,000 years ago, the Olmec crushed the seeds of a tropical fruit, blending them with water and chili peppers. They crafted a bitter, foamy drink they believed linked them to the divine. This was the birth of chocolate, a journey leading to a multi-billion-dollar industry rooted in ancient rituals and sacred traditions. The Olmec, known as the mother culture of Mesoamerica, flourished along the Gulf of Mexico. They were the artisans behind massive stone heads, remnants of their profound civilization. In the rainforest's shaded understory, cacao trees grew wild, waiting for discovery. The Olmec realized a profound truth. By fermenting and roasting cacao seeds, they could produce a unique drink, a revelation that would alter. Archaeological findings in Honduras and Belize reveal the earliest use of cacao, dating back over 3,000 years. To the Olmec, this was not mere refreshment. It was sacred, woven into the fabric of their existence. As the Olmec civilization waned, their knowledge of cacao seamlessly passed to the Maya, who transformed it into a corn. The Maya, whose very word for cacao gave rise to our modern term, used chocolate in pivotal life ceremonies: births, marriages, funerals, and offerings to their gods. Cacao was present in their art, hieroglyphs, and mythology. The Popol Vuh, their sacred text, describes cacao as a divine element in the creation of humanity itself. Consider this: for the Maya, chocolate was not merely a treat, it was a fundamental essence of life. Yet their chocolate was starkly different from our modern indulgence. Without sugar or milk, Maya chocolate was a thick, bitter concoction, blended with water, cornmeal, chili peppers, and vanilla. They poured it between vessels, creating a coveted. The elite savored the finest cacao concoctions, while commoners settled for simpler brews. Cacao beans gained immense value, even serving as currency across Mesoamerica. The price of a turkey, just 100 cacao beans, a slave. Around 1000, money, it seemed, grew on trees. As the Aztec Empire surged in the 1400s, cacao emerged as the most cherished commodity. However, the irony lay in their inability to cultivate cacao in the arid heights of Tenochtitlan. The Aztecs, masters of conquest, seized cacao-rich regions and demanded tribute, flooding their capital with. Estimates suggest the Aztecs received nearly 200 loads of cacao beans yearly, each weighing 50 pounds. Emperor Montezuma II indulged in up to 50 cups of Xochitl daily, the bitter drink that symbolized wisdom, power, and vitality. For the Aztecs, cacao was divine, bestowed by. Xochitl transcended mere refreshment. It embodied blood, spirit, and the weight of empire. Warriors drank it before battles, while priests utilized it in sacred ceremonies. It was offered to those facing sacrifice, a final tribute. In 1519, Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés arrived, heralding a seismic shift. Upon encountering the Aztec court, he was offered Xochitl, yet the Spanish recoiled at its bitterness. They deemed it unfit for human consumption, likening it to swine's fare. Yet Cortés recognized its economic power. Cacao beans were the empire's currency. After the fall of the Aztec Empire in 1521, the Spanish exported cacao beans to Spain. But a pivotal transformation awaited. In colonial convents, nuns began experimenting, introducing sugar, cinnamon, and vanilla. They heated the drink instead of serving it cold, transforming the bitter elixir into something. Spain guarded this modified chocolate recipe for nearly a century, while Europe remained blissfully unaware. Behind closed doors, Spanish aristocrats became enamored with the new luxury drink. By the early 1600s, chocolate began its secretive spread to Italy, France, and England, capturing the fascination of Europe. In France, Maria Theresa of Spain, wife of King Louis XIV, reportedly consumed chocolate multiple times a day, her sweetened indulgence so intense it stained her teeth. The French court quickly followed suit, making hot chocolate the drink of choice at Versailles. In 1657, London welcomed its first chocolate house, exclusive venues for the affluent, akin to modern-day coffee shops. These havens became the meeting grounds for the powerful, where discussions of business and gossip flowed alongside cups. Samuel Pepys, the famed English diarist, chronicled his visits to these chocolate houses in the 1660s. Political factions claimed their own chocolate houses as unofficial headquarters. Meanwhile, doctors across Europe began to prescribe chocolate as a remedy for various ailments. though its efficacy was questionable. For over 2 centuries, chocolate remained a luxurious beverage, expensive and labor-intensive to produce. The process required roasting, shelling, and hand-grinding cacao beans, resulting in a thick paste that was difficult to dissolve. In 1828, a Dutch chemist named Coenraad Johannes van Houten revolutionized chocolate. He invented a hydraulic press to extract cocoa butter from cacao beans, creating a dry cake that could be pulverized. He treated this powder with alkaline salts, reducing its bitterness, paving the way for a new era of chocolate. With this breakthrough, chocolate transformed from a luxury to an accessible delight. The cocoa powder dissolved easily in water or milk, allowing ordinary people to enjoy chocolate drinks for the first time. But Van Houten's innovation birthed something even greater. In 1847, J.S. Fry and Sons discovered that by combining cocoa powder, sugar, and melted cocoa butter, they could create a smooth, moldable paste that hardened. The world saw its first modern chocolate bar, forever changing the relationship between humanity and chocolate. Peter struggles with his chocolate recipe, feeling defeated. But then his neighbor, Henry Nestlé, shares a revolutionary invention, powdered condensed milk. Combining this with chocolate, a new creation emerges: milk chocolate. This Nestlé, the same one that would grow into a global food giant, transforms the chocolate. Years pass. In 1879, a Swiss chocolatier named Rodolphe Lindt faces an unexpected outcome. After accidentally leaving his mixing machine running overnight, he returns to find a chocolate with an exquisite, velvety texture. He names this method conching, after the basin of his machine. This technique becomes the gold standard in chocolate production. In just 50 years, chocolate evolves from an aristocratic drink to a smooth, sweet, solid food, paving the way for the modern chocolate bar. The world is on the brink of a chocolate craze. Fast forward to the early 1900s, and Milton Snavely Hershey, a caramel maker from Pennsylvania, experiences a turning point. At the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago, he observes German chocolate machinery, igniting a passion that leads him to sell his successful company for $1 million. Hershey's brilliance isn't in crafting the finest chocolate, but in making it accessible to everyone. He builds a town around his factory, naming it Hershey, Pennsylvania. With streets named Chocolate Avenue and Cocoa Avenue, it becomes a self-sufficient community complete with schools and parks. In 1900, the Hershey bar debuts, marking the beginning of mass-produced chocolate in America. By the 1920s, Hershey produces millions of bars daily, while competitors join the fray. Frank Mars launches the Milky Way bar in 1923, and his son, Forrest Mars, creates M&M's in 1941, inspired by soldiers in Spain who ate chocolate pellets coated in sugar to prevent melting. The candy bar war. Unexpectedly, chocolate enters the battlefield. During World War II, the U.S. military commissions Hershey to create a special chocolate bar for soldiers. This bar must weigh 4 ounces, be energy-dense, endure high temperatures, and taste just slightly better than a boiled potato. Soldiers refer to it as the D-ration bar, and Hershey produces over 3 billion of them throughout the world. Each soldier's field rations include chocolate, and as American troops liberate towns in Europe and the Pacific, they distribute chocolate to local children and civilians. An entire generation worldwide experiences chocolate for the first time, thanks to American GIs. After the war, global chocolate consumption skyrockets, driven by returning soldiers and newfound. Mars, Cadbury, Nestlé, and Hershey race to dominate the post-war candy market. In Britain, Cadbury has long been a staple. The Quaker Cadbury family enters the chocolate world as a moral crusade, promoting chocolate as a wholesome alternative to alcohol. John Cadbury opens his first shop in Birmingham in 1824, and his sons establish the model village of Bournville for their work. As the 20th century unfolds, chocolate weaves itself into the fabric of Western culture. Valentine's Day becomes synonymous with heart-shaped boxes, Easter with chocolate eggs, and Halloween emerges as a giant candy-selling event in the U.S., with chocolate leading the charge in a $4 billion industry. However, many misunderstand the true scope of chocolate's story. It's not just about candy bars and holiday treats. Today, the global chocolate market exceeds $130 billion annually, surpassing the GDP of over 100 countries. The supply chain stretches from West African farms to sprawling factories in Switzerland, connecting 70% of the world's cacao originates in West Africa, with Ivory Coast and Ghana responsible for over half the supply. The cacao farming industry employs millions, primarily smallholder farmers tending to plots smaller than 5 acres. Yet within this sweet industry many cacao farms rely on child labor, with reports highlighting over 1 million children working in hazardous conditions in Ivory Coast and Ghana. These children, as young as 5, wield machetes and endure exposure to dangerous pesticides. In 2001, major chocolate companies signed the Archangel Protocol, pledging to eliminate child labor, but the irony looms large. A product that brings joy to millions relies on a supply chain where growers often cannot afford the very product they cultivate. This contrast between pleasure and exploitation fuels a burgeoning movement in the modern food industry. Over the last 15 years, the bean-to-bar movement reshapes how chocolate enthusiasts perceive their treats. Small craft chocolate makers establish direct relationships with farmers, paying above market rates to ensure quality. They treat cacao with the same care and reverence that winemakers reserve. A single-origin chocolate bar from Madagascar tastes nothing like one from Ecuador or Vietnam. The variations rival the differences found between fine wines. This movement reveals a truth long obscured by the large chocolate corporations. Chocolate is not a singular flavor, but a spectrum of honey. The mass-produced bars rely on heavily roasted and processed cacao, blended for uniformity. But the craft chocolate makers unveil the complexities and nuances of chocolate, comparable to fine wine or single malt whiskey. Yet the future of climate change threatens cacao production. The delicate trees need precise conditions, consistent temperatures, high humidity, and ample rainfall. With climate models predicting adverse effects by 2050, yields are already suffering. Diseases and pests are exacerbated by researchers strive to develop resilient cacao varieties through selective breeding and genetic editing. Others experiment with new growing regions, testing the viability of cacao in southern India and parts of Southeast Asia. Some companies even seek to replicate cacao flavors without using actual. Consider the story's full arc. It intertwines innovation, culture, and the stark realities of global trade. The future of chocolate is uncertain, yet its rich history continues to unfold, shaping lives and palates worldwide. A jungle fruit, once deemed divine by an ancient civilization, transformed into the currency of empires and the secret indulgence of European kings. It fueled the Industrial Revolution, served as comfort for soldiers in war, and evolved into the most universally craved flavor on Earth. Chocolate has worn many hats: money, medicine, ritual, weapon, and gift. It has built fortunes, devastated ecosystems, and forged connections between cultures across vast distances and time. The Olmec, grinding cacao in the lush lowlands of Mexico 3 millennia ago, could never have envisioned a world where their sacred drink would be freeze-dried into powder, molded into whimsical shapes, and stuffed into pastries. Chocolate drizzled over ice cream, sold in airport convenience stores, and consumed casually in modern life would baffle them. Yet, amid all this transformation, one essence remains unchanged. The reason chocolate enchants us in the 21st century mirrors the allure it held for the Maya. The magic lies in the unique combination of compounds in cacao: theobromine, phenylethylamine, and anandamide, alongside over 600 distinct flavor compounds. These elements ignite a response in the human brain that no other food can replicate. Scientists have delved into why chocolate cravings resonate so deeply, revealing that chocolate activates multiple pleasure pathways in the brain. It is more than just sugar and fat. It's a remarkable chemical cocktail housed within the cacao bean. A concoction perfected through evolution over millions of years, discovered by humans in the jungles of Central America 30 centuries ago. From sacred rituals to global obsession, chocolate's tale reflects humanity's quest for pleasure. Empires rose and fell in pursuit of it. Inventors dedicated their lives to perfecting its form. Today, the average American consumes around 11 pounds of chocolate each year, often without a thought for the 3,000-year journey that has brought it to their fingertips. This is the rich history of chocolate. Next time you break off a piece of a chocolate bar, consider this legacy. a marvel that intertwines humanity's past with present pleasures, inviting us to savor not just the taste but the journey itself.